Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. I love the Wednesday hacks of the week, and so for this time it is July the 13th. I can't believe we're already smooth sailing into it. But anyway, this time I'm bringing to you because I'm circling back. I've had a lot of good feedback and they want me to slow down when I'm explaining, so that's why I'm circling back to this one in particular. I'm getting a lot of feedback on how am I working so efficiently, or what exactly is my process when I'm working on a project. So I'm going to walk you through that start to finish. I'm not actually going to do the project, so stay tuned. It's just going to be the way that my thought process is. So what I did was, and it works really good for me, is I went out and bought the cookie sheets, and they're 9.5 by 13. And I pick my fabric and I just line everything up on this. And then after I cut up everything and it's ready to go, the next step I do is I put it in these racks so that it's ready. And I move my racks up all the time. I start at the bottom when I don't have a project that I want to work on, or it's one of those days where I just don't want to sew yet. I'll go ahead and preset my fabrics, and as I'm doing my projects, I'll move them up. So that's just something that I'm doing, and it's working for me. But when I cut my fabric and I'm getting things ready to go for my next project, once I get it lined up, I always move to the next step in it, because I don't know if I'm going to just have a day I just want to mindless sew. So like, I'm going to use this as an example. I'm doing the layer cake spools because I really wanted to use up one of my 10-inch square bundles, and this was the perfect project for it. So I've already got, these are sewed together here on both sides. So I haven't touched it in a couple weeks, but when I get back to it and I circle around, I've already got them marked up and ready to go. So for demonstration purposes, remember, I start on this, I lay my fabrics out. Then when they're ready to go and they're a work in progress, I move them to this tray. It's just for my benefit and it works great. But as I'm laying out my blocks, I still use my design boards. And I like that because I don't misconstrued my blocks. I was getting away from it, and when I did my Independence Day door hanger and my TV runner and things, I didn't use this like I normally would. I was just hustling to get it done before I went away, and I inadvertently put a block backwards. I hate the seam rip. We all have to do it, but I'm getting back to using my design boards. That way I don't have that issue again. So when I'm done, whatever I'm doing on my project, it's going from the design board back into here. And then I'll just move it up my trays. But I have multiple whips right now, and they're all just, this is just the way that I set my stuff up so that I'm working better. Anytime I do cut a pattern, and I'll give you that little tidbit, they always tell you about your bindings or whatever. So as soon as I'm doing a project, what I do is I go ahead and get my binding. Now this has been cut for a couple weeks, but this project's getting ready to kick off. So what I'm going to do with my binding is I'm going to go ahead and do my miter, get this ready, go ahead and iron it over so that when the time comes, this is ready to go. So all I have to do is take the clip off. My project's already going to be squared up and ready to go, and I'll be able to whip it on one evening. But this one in particular that I'm doing, I'm going to try something different, so stay tuned for that. I've never hand stitched it in. So that's something I'm going to try on this project, because it's going to measure finished for this particular one 44 by 58. So it's a good one to learn on, and it's just going to be a fun project. So follow along with us. We're doing the time machine. This is 3-yard cuts, and I'm doing this. It's going to kick off on my channel. I got the book and I talked to Melissa and Colleen, and we're going to do this together, and we've invited several of you. Is anybody that wants to join in? It's going to be fun. There's 8 quilts in this book, and we're going to do this one because I just love the colors in it. And then the next time we go around, Melissa or Colleen will pick a pattern and we'll all do that. And then the next time, the next one will pick, just till we work through the book. It's just that way we're not wasting the money that we've spent on it. And it's 3 yards. And honestly, I can show you. This is the waist that I had. I always keep my waist. This was it out of that whole pattern. So, when these patterns are wrote, they're wrote very, very well. I love a pattern with very little waist. Donna Robertson does an amazing job. She makes sure that she's utilizing everything. But that's just the way that I choose to do mine. And so far, they're working out really good the way that I'm doing it. If I come across the hitch down the road, I'll definitely be changing things out. But I highly recommend to anybody that if you're doing like block building or whatever, and if you don't have these, make up a couple. Back when I first began sewing, Lori Holt was showing how she made these on her videos, and they're really quite simple. It was just honestly one of the thick foam poster boards. My husband cut him down. I just put a little bit of felt on the front and decorated them, but you don't even have to do that. And I probably got like 15 or 20 of these, and then this is the 12 by 12, and we did a couple 10 by 10s just, and when I'm moving them, before I was laying everything out on the bed just to see how it was going to lay out. But now I've got my design wall, so as I'm doing my project, I can throw it up on there. So everybody's space is limited. Lord knows we're working in confined quarters here as well. But I found myself getting away from my design boards, and trust me, lesson learned when you got to do some seam ripping. So I'll be stepping back and going back into that. On a couple different patterns that I've came across that I don't know if anybody else has, I've learned that not everyone writes them the same. So with that being said, I want to do a little conversion ruler for you. So now's the time. Take a second, pause the video, and go get yourself a piece of paper, because it's going to come in handy for you, and just keep it by your sewing machine. You never know when you're going to need it, and I'm telling you what, it took me a bit to figure it out, and then I Googled and made sure that everything I'm telling you is correct. But over the last 6 months, I've came across 2 patterns that are using decimals versus your regular ruler measurements, and I was like, oh my gosh. Then I'd have to pull out my phone and put that in and convert it over. And to save you all some time, I'm going to tell you what the measurements are. That way you're already going to have them and save yourself what I went through. So with that being said, I'm going to start with number 1. When you see a pattern, I'm just going to read down all the measurements for you. So like I said, I hope you paused the video for just a second, got yourself a little piece of paper to take a quick note on. I will have Joe add this in the description box as well. That way it'll be a sure go-to for you. But one of the patterns I had was, it was just for a 1/8 inch. But when it was wrote, it was 0.125. Well, me being a new sewer, I've only got 2 years experience. I would have never known that. So I was trying to guess, and finally I was just like, I broke, and I was like, no, I played with enough muslin wasting. Let's go in and find out. So I dug in, and this is what the measurements are. If you come across the pattern and it's in decimals, I'm just going to go from the decimal over to the conversion. That way you can write them down. So when you see 0.125, that's going to convert over to the 1/8 inch. Then if you see the 0.25, that's your 1/4 inch. Your 0.375, that's your 3/8 inch. Your 0.5 is a 1/2 inch. Your 0.625 is 5/8 inch. Your 0.75 is 3/4 of an inch. And 0.875 is 7/8 inch. And like I said, you may never need it, but I'm coming across newer written patterns and I'm seeing it now. I don't know why they don't put both, but I'm not the pattern writer. I love the way that the patterns are coming out, but I just went ahead and wrote up the conversion chart so that we all have it. Anybody on my channel, now you have what I have, and I like to just share what I'm learning along this journey. So with that being said, I'm going to end out today's hack of the week. So that's just little tidbits of what I'm going through with mine. So y'all, if you like the content, please subscribe. Let me know what you think of what I'm telling you about the hacks of the week, and if you've got any ideas, drop me a note in the description box. I'd love to hear them, and I do read all of your comments. So with that being said, just have a fabulous week, and I'll see you back in the next hack. Bye.